we got a new and improved, tougher Mike McDaniel. I'm going to cover that. Going to cover Hill talking about his career might be over. And obviously, I'm going to do a little breakdown of our game versus Falcons. Somebody was telling me that people were thinking we're going to win this game. It's possible. But when I show you these two teams, especially in Atlanta's house, it's not a hot trot roll of the dice. It's a riverboat roll that we win because it's not looking good. So that's the whole deal for today, guys. Please like, subscribe, comment, view, all that stuff keeps Curtis in the biz. Appreciate all you've been doing. Really, you guys have been helping me out a ton. But if you can help me out more, I'll take that too. Guys, I've been under the weather. I've talked in the past. I got these blood clot things. They've kind of wiped me out for a couple of weeks. I'm finally getting over it. I'm sorry if I'm not hitting all the comments that I'd like because I love them and I appreciate so much. So I'm going to start next Wednesday answering a Q&A. And if you want to stop in there and you can if you want to post a comment that I didn't answer, put it there. I'm going to take some comments that maybe are longer form because I type so much. I'm writing a novel. I write for Finn's News, and I write these comments. Sometimes it's used just to talk about them. So next Wednesday, I'm going to do a live and answer comments. And if I missed any of them, I do apologize. There's some great comments, and I saw I had 8 days before I answered, and that bothers me. So that's the whole deal for today, guys. Let's get into Mike McDaniel, the new Mike McDaniel. He's now getting chippy, pissy. It's the one thing you could say about Mike McDaniel is that he is his authentic self, is what they would say. He was the Woody Allen approach. But you could see him getting a little bit chippy, trying to be a little tough, a little nastier. I guess trying to create some kind of edge. I feel bad for the guy. His wife had come out and put out a tweet, and it was terrible. All these guys, these coaches and players, even if I don't like them, the amount of pressure they get, it's a lot. I get a couple of bad comments here, and they're like, I feel bad. Can you imagine being one of these guys and just having tons and tons and tons of pressure from all these comments? It's not easy. There's some of them I really, really don't like who deserve it. But for them, even them, sometimes I feel a little bad. So his wife came out and said, you don't know how hard he works. And it really didn't mesh well with this tougher McDaniel. I just don't think it's going to float. Somebody in the comments had said, I had talked about his height, his slender nature, and his demeanor. It doesn't work in the NFL. It's not like usual work. You've got these alpha, powerful young athletes in a semi-war situation. It's very difficult. There are guys, and the person had mentioned Vermeil, but if you ever watch Vermeil, he would cry and then he would freak out. He was a firebrand when he wanted to. Carroll's considered a nice guy, but he sucked. He had so many problems, got fired, struggled until he went to the Seahawks, and then they had one of the greatest series of drafts ever, and he had all that talent. But even he could be a little bit of a firebrand. McDaniel's way about him, it works well when you're winning, but when you're not, you need to have a little fear. It's sort of like being a father. You've got to have respect for the guy, and then you have a relationship. You can't be too hard. I thought Flores had both, and then he lost, and he became nasty, kind of like the head coach for the Giants. Can't remember his name. When they went to Super Bowls and he had to change, he was a Jags coach. You can't go too much either way. It's got to be in the middle, but there's got to be a little more respect and fear than there is like, hey, I like you. Just because you've got to drive these guys. And it just doesn't work with McDaniel. He's been trying to act kind of sarcastic, nasty, trying to be a little tougher. It's just not going to fly. But we'll see. This is the hard times. Can he get this team turned around? it doesn't work with him. And it's a shame. You know, he should have added more of that tough guy thing when he first got here. But over the years, I remember the one play where he sat down, they were losing, and he sat down next to Waddle and Hill, and he's joking with them, and they walk off, they kind of look at each other and laugh. He set this up, and it's not possible to pull it back at this stage. So I feel bad for the guy. I think he's been given a pretty poor deck. I don't think he's got what it takes. Maybe he could have developed into it, but he kind of set up a lot of this stuff that's leading to where we are, which is being friendly, being too nice, too many ums. It's just anytime you have it's like a father. If you're more of a friend to your child than a father, it's going to end up poorly. And that's where we're at. I think it's kind of really at the end stage. And even if you look at Flores, when Flores was here for a while, he wasn't the way he was after that tour insertion. Go look at his relationship with the media and the way he kind of did things. He was totally different. He was, polite and all that. But once that happened, he started getting nasty. He started, getting hardened. And even McDaniel, who's a super nice guy, he's a guy you'd want to just hang out with. He's not a bad guy at all. He might be he might not be the right coach for you, but I think he's a nice guy. But you can even see him turning a little bitter. And so here we are. We're kind of entering the end stages. He's trying to reel this stuff back. I don't think it's going to work. And you got a critical game coming up right now. And I'm going to go over the numbers, the rankings of the two teams. And this is an extraordinarily different. I don't see us winning here. I mean, anything's possible. But McDaniel, with all he's trying to do, if you lose this game, and we're probably going to in spectacular fashion, you never know, it's just going to create a greater snowball effect. And a lot of these guys, they're just not going to buy it. You were chumming up to me, and I don't know if he's doing it just to the media or he's being that way to his players. It might work with the media a little bit, but it's not going to work with the players. And the more losses, it's going to get geometrically more difficult. Now, if he wins, I think maybe things could change. But we'll take a look at the matchups. And, guys, you have to be realistic. You might want to say, Tua needs to win this game, and Weaver needs to coach this game right, and McDaniel. But they are seriously uphill, especially in Atlanta's house where they play much, much better. All right, let's take a look at this graphic here. This is the Miami and Falcons defense. We'll get to the offense next. Offensive yards per game allowed, 26th Miami, 2nd Falcons. Third down conversions, 25th Miami, 8th the Falcons. Rush yards per game, 32nd, terrible, 19th Falcons. Pass yards per game, that's allowed, 11th Miami. Not bad, better than what you think, but teams are just running free, and so it's what's a sense of passing. First on the Falcons. And so that's how we get by. And we're going against the best pass defense in the league. Sacks, we're 21st. They're not hot to trot, but 14th is pretty steady. Points per game allowed, 29th for us, 29.3, and 8th, 20 points per game for the Falcons. Now, if you look at the offense and you understand, I've been talking about how running the football marries with the defense, and you look at what we just talked about and you add this, it's not good. It's just a bad meshing, especially on the road with this crowd noise. Miami, rush attempts, 30th in the league, 3rd for the Falcons. And I've shown how these are massive indicators of success. Rush yards, 29th for Miami, 4th for the Falcons. And you take that 4th for the Falcons and you add our 32nd rush defense. And that's scary. That's a scary matchup right there. First downs, 30th for Miami, 11th for the Falcons. Time of possession, 31st to 5th. That means his defense will likely be on the field and get weaker as the game goes. Pass yards, 26th for Miami, 10th for the Falcons. Sacked, 17th for Miami, 2.4. 5th for the Falcons, 1.4. Rushing first downs, 32nd, 8th for the Falcons. Opponent's point per game is pretty close. We're actually better, where we got 25th for 20, and they're 28th for 18.3. But if you look at the away and home versions, Miami scores only 14 points away, and Falcons score 26 at home, and they're home. This is going to be extraordinarily difficult when you match the bad defense of the Dolphins, the run defense, with the run offense of the Falcons. Penix's ability to move. Really, we're outclassed at every level. And so what happens when Miami loses? At what point does this team fully tune out McDaniel? And I just think that, unfortunately, trying to reel in his personality at this stage might just exasperate it, because it's not real. It's like a fake thing, because we know who he really is. And so people aren't really going to buy it. I don't see how we win this game. I don't see how we don't fall to 1-7. And, I don't see how McDaniel can keep this going. And I don't see how Tua can have a good game. We might see another backup put in there, but they're going to do worse. I mean, everyone fixated on Ewers one pass deep, but the rest of his plays were terrible. And it's not Ewers' fault. This offensive line's not built. It's not conducive for success. So I just think that at the end of the day, we're headed for an epic battle with the Jets for the first overall pick. And I think we'll definitely end up losing this game. And it will be interesting to see how long they can string this thing out. On a final note, going to next season, Hill's already talking about it might be the end of his career. And so you're not going to be able to use that asset either for your team or to trade it. I don't think he's made a definitive effort, a definitive decision. But when you pull it all together, it looks like an absolute rebuild. The good news amid the bad news is that you will have this total shifting away from what we've got. The additions of a very good pick and some extra picks that Greer added. But I think you're looking at next year being another year similar to this. And it's going to be a 2-year compiling of high draft picks. And what we do with that will really tell the deal. But as we're heading into this big pick draft, remember, Greer's out there looking for players. It seems very much that either A, he's going to be the guy making the calls to make the picks, or at the very least, him and the rest of the framework setting up the scouting reports and the draft board in a lot of ways, even if he just hands it off to another GM. Will the GM be Champ Kelly and Marvin Allen? I don't know, but I'm not very happy that we're going to have great positioning in this draft and that this crew, who's kind of screwed up mostly, is going to set this thing up. We'll see how it plays out with McDaniel and Hill, but it's kind of sad to see McDaniel. Not sad, like, he's just a good guy, nice guy. He wants to kind of be genuine, and he's being broken down, and it's making him look worse. I feel bad for his wife, but that's what we do here, guys. So get ready, I think, for a big beatdown. You can come check it out. Me with George on Finn's Faithful tomorrow at 10:30. We'll be doing a live and breaking the game down more. But I just don't see any way this ends in a positive at any level. I know at the end of the day, people probably blame Tua if he has a bad game. He's probably going to. But I don't see how anyone could succeed under these conditions when you see how lopsided the things are. So that's it, guys. Be happy. You got a game tomorrow. I guess be positive if that's what you want. But the reality is, I think it could end up being 27-17 type thing, 27-13 type thing. We're not going to have Julian Hill. And we're not going to have Wally. He's on IR. So we've got Tana and Ingold and I don't know, some other guy. And that's a big piece of the puzzle, especially when you got such a low-end offensive line. I know they talked about Jonah Savaiinaea getting better, but not really. I think that's a lot of hype. So here we go. The train of ugliness is continuing. So I would like to say I hope you enjoyed. Get ready for some more ugliness. Curtis saying, be well, go Fins. Curtis app. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.